Have you ever been on your feet and suddenly felt that your legs are weak or shaky or like they might just give out from under you? If that sounds familiar, then you're in the right place. We're going to break down exactly why that happens, and way more importantly, we'll cover the simple, real steps you can take to build back your strength and your confidence. Let's get right into it.
I bet this question hits home for a lot of you. You know that feeling, that unsteadiness, that weakness? It can be really unnerving, right? It's the kind of thing that makes you think twice about taking the stairs. Or maybe you can't walk as far as you used to. It can even make just getting up from your favorite chair feel like a challenge.
Okay, so first things first, let's get one thing straight. This is not just something you have to accept as a normal part of getting older. It's so common, but you shouldn't just write it off. Think of it more like a signal. Your body's telling you that something needs a little attention. And here's the best part. There are absolutely solutions.
So our first stop on this journey is probably the biggest and most common reason for leg weakness. It really just boils down to that old saying we've all heard, use it or lose it. We're talking about your foundational muscle strength. This is the bedrock of everything. So how do you know if this is you? Well, do your knees ever just buckle out of nowhere? Do you find yourself needing to use your hands to really push off just to get out of a chair? Or maybe you've just noticed you can't walk as far as you used to without feeling tired or unstable. These are all classic textbook signs that your foundational leg muscles could use a little tune-up. So what is the single best way to start rebuilding that foundation? You're going to love this because it's an exercise that copies one of the most important things we do all day long, the sit to stand. It's basically just a safe, controlled squat that perfectly targets all the big, important muscles in your legs, your quads, your glutes, your hips, the whole shebang.
All right, let's walk through how to do this right, because the form is everything. You're going to start by sitting on the very edge of a sturdy chair. Then, push through your heels to stand straight up. Try not to rock forward to get momentum. At the very top, give your glute muscles a good squeeze. Now this next part is maybe the most important. Slowly and with total control, lower yourself back down. Don't just fall into the chair. That slow, controlled movement on the way down, that's where you build some serious strength. And what's so great about this is that you can start wherever you are right now. If it feels really tough, no problem. Start with a higher chair, or maybe throw a pillow on it. Use both of your hands to help push off. Just aim for 3 to 5 really good quality reps. Then, as you get stronger, you can move to a lower chair. Try using just one hand, and eventually, no hands at all. The goal is to build up to 10 comfortable reps.
Now, to really round out your strength foundation, here are 2 other fantastic exercises. First, the bridge. It's awesome because you can do it lying on your back, even in bed, and it's amazing for your glutes and your core without putting any stress on your knees. Then there's the step up. This one is so practical. Just find a sturdy stair, hold onto the railing for support, and practice stepping up and down. It's a movement that's just essential for getting around in daily life.
Okay, but what if it's not just about muscle strength? What if the problem is a bit more complicated? Sometimes weakness isn't about the muscle itself, but about the signals that are trying to get to the muscle. And that brings us to structural issues, things like pain, nerves, and your joints. Think of it like this. Your nerves are like electrical wires. If you get a pinched nerve in your back, it's like a kink in the wire. The signal from your brain to your leg muscles gets weak or fuzzy. Or another way this can happen is with painful joints. If you've got a lot of arthritis pain in your knee or your hip, your body's smart defense mechanism is to basically shut down the muscles around it to protect it. Either way, the result feels the same to you: weakness and instability.
And this leads us to a really, really important question. Exercise is amazing, but it's not always the answer. There are definitely times when you absolutely need to pause and see a professional to get things checked out. So, how do you know when it's time to make that call?
You really want to pay close attention to these red flags. If that weakness in your leg also comes with numbness, or that pins and needles feeling, or a burning sensation that travels down your leg, that's a big clue that a nerve is involved. And listen, especially if you find that you can't lift your toes or your foot up toward your shin, that's called a foot drop. That is a clear, non-negotiable sign to go get a professional evaluation.
Now let's say you have some mild discomfort, but none of those serious red flags. There's a really gentle movement you can try that's designed to help get the nerve moving a little more freely. It's often called a nerve glide or even a nerve floss.
The whole trick to this one is coordination. You're going to sit on a surface that's a little higher, like the edge of your bed, so your feet aren't flat on the floor. Now, as you look up at the ceiling, gently straighten one leg out and pull your toes back towards you.
Then, as you look down and bring your chin toward your chest, you let that knee bend back down. See? It's just a slow, gentle, rocking motion that's meant to get that nerve gliding smoothly.
So here is the absolute most important rule with this exercise. If you try this and it makes those nerve symptoms worse, even a little bit, you stop immediately. That is your body telling you loud and clear that this is not the right thing for you, and it's time to see a professional. No exceptions.
Okay, so we've tackled foundational strengths, we've talked about structural issues, now let's put it all together. Let's talk about how to improve your actual day-to-day function, and that means working on your balance and your endurance.
I want to introduce you to a really cool concept. It's a big word, but a simple idea. Proprioception. Basically, it's your brain's built-in GPS that tells it where your body parts are without you having to look. But things like muscle weakness or joint pain can mess with that signal. Your brain gets a little unsure of exactly where your foot is, and the result is you feel off balance. But here's the cool part. You can totally retrain this system. So here's a super simple and, more importantly, safe way to check in on your balance. Find a sturdy counter or a wall you can touch for support. Then, just lift one foot off the ground. Keep a tiny, soft bend in the knee of your standing leg and just see how long you can hold it. It's not a test you can fail, it's just information. It gives you a great starting point.
So what's a good number to aim for? Well, the gold standard goal is about 30 seconds. Now, please do not get discouraged if you're nowhere near that. Honestly, most people start out somewhere in the 5 to 15 second range. The important thing is that now you have a clear, concrete number to work toward, and that can be really motivating.
So how do you improve? Well, if standing on one leg just feels like too much right now, start with something easier. Just stand, hold on to something, and gently shift your weight from your right foot to your left foot, back and forth. Once that starts to feel pretty solid, you can progress to what's called a tandem stance. That's where you stand like you're on a tightrope, one foot directly in front of the other. That'll really start to challenge and improve that proprioception.
And finally, let's talk about endurance and circulation. The secret here is just to get moving for longer stretches of time. You know, walking is perfect. It's what our bodies are designed to do. But if you have painful joints that make walking hard, don't worry. Non-weight-bearing options like a stationary bike or even one of those little under-the-desk pedalers are absolutely fantastic. The number one rule, though, is to start slow. I mean, just a few minutes a day. Then you can gradually add more time over the coming weeks. Consistency is so much more important than intensity. All right, we have covered a lot of ground here, haven't we? We've talked about strength, we've talked about nerves and joints, and we've talked about balance. So let's wrap this all up into a simple action plan that puts you back in the driver's seat.
And, you know, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. The most important thing you can do is to practice the very thing you're not good at. Because if you don't, it's just not going to get better. So if getting out of a chair is the hard part, you practice sit-to-stands. If your balance feels shaky, you practice your balance. It sounds almost too simple, but it is so incredibly powerful. You just identify that weak link, and then you gently and consistently work on it. Because feeling strong and stable on your feet, that's not just something you have to hope for. It's something you can actively build one day and one repetition at a time.